Afterward, our lad reunites with his companions and the instructor. They congratulate him on his win, but he appears more worried about the youngsters. The girl assures him that they are okay and recuperating in the infirmary. Hearing this finally puts his mind at ease, since he had been deeply anxious about them. The tranquility barely lasts a second, as he suddenly detects an incredibly wicked presence about him. When he turns around to inspect, it instantly vanishes. Layla spots him and asks if something is wrong, but he blows it off, stating it is nothing. Inside, he understands that something is dreadfully wrong, as he briefly sensed a magic filled with extreme bloodlust. Later that evening, he stands alone by some rocks in the forest, thinking about how only 1 week remained before the last match. He recalls the eerie enchantment he felt during the tournament, and knows he must grow even stronger. Lionel soon comes, perplexed as to why he has called him to such a secluded area. Setsuna reveals that he wants to learn a spell from him, and calls him by his moniker, Lionel the Comet Fist. This takes him by surprise, and he explains that people often used to call him by that name a long time ago. He wonders how the hero knows about it. The hero clenches his hands, pondering that this is the legendary title he heard during his time in the Mage army before returning to the past. Comet Fist is the name of a melee wizard who once slew a terrible dragon with a single stroke. By the time he joined the army, the mage had long departed, and the story was deemed nothing more than a legend. Now he is positive that the department head is that particular individual. Our youngster bends down and mentions that he wants to learn that magic from him. Lionel explains that Comet Fist is an ancient method, but the hero believes that it does not matter. To him, the instructor is the strongest melee magician he has ever seen. This makes the teacher wonder why he is so determined to become stronger, given he already looks far more capable than most. The hero says that it is still not enough, and that he refuses to lose to anyone again, even if his opponent seems indestructible. Lionel chuckles and calls him an interesting boy. He offers to teach him, but warns that this is not a skill a student should ordinarily learn. As Lionel begins gathering mana in his hand, the hero feels a great amount of energy focusing. The instructor says that the technique he is about to demonstrate is called Comet Fist. He has only used it twice before, because it burns a great amount of mana, yet all it takes is a single punch. With one blow to the earth, Lionel releases an overpowering pressure that devastates the surrounding environment, sending debris flying everywhere. Setsuna is left in wonder, saying that it is much beyond anything he envisaged. The speaker then continues to explain that the technique takes an enormous control of mana. A large amount of mana must be compressed and focused into a single spot, which makes the method incredibly tough to perform in one-on-one conflicts like tournaments. He then asks whether the hero still wants to learn it. Instead of backing down, our youngster answers with apparent excitement, suggesting that he is keen to master it. Hearing this, his instructor agrees to train him and urges him to follow. The picture cuts to Carol, who is quietly drinking tea with a man, congratulating her on reaching to the final round. She praises him, and he casually asks whether she feels confident about overcoming the melee magic department's representative. The furry girl simply smiles and does not take the question too seriously, adding that no one can foretell the outcome, but she plans to give her best. As the man drinks his tea, she offers him another cup, but when she rises up to serve it, the man secretly takes out a card and activates it. An emblem appears on the back of her neck, and she quickly collapses. The man smirks, thinking that it would be wonderful if Carol defeats Setsuna. If things do not go that way, he plans to deal with both of them himself. Meanwhile, our lad continues his training, questioning whether he is truly ready. The instructor is startled when he perfects the technique within just 1 week, something he imagined would take years to master. He says that the hero has passed, signifying the end of the Comet Fist, also known as Charged Bullet, training. The day of the final match arrives, and the arena fills with fans. The MC announces the final match of the Elm Ridge Mage Academy's 781st Intramural Contest. The first participant is Carol, from the Summoning Magic Department, entering with consecutive victories behind her. Her opponent is the one who has rocked the entire competition that year, Setsuna, from the Melee Magic Department. The kids are wondering who will win. One boy definitely feels that the furry girl will win, pointing out how she has dominated every match thus far. A girl argues that the hero is also tremendously strong, and after witnessing his previous match, she is wholeheartedly rooting for him. The 3 kids from earlier shout heartily for the hero as well. The contest takes place on the Goddess Ruin stage, Anticipating the battle's tremendous ferocity, a formation magician creates a formidable barrier around the arena. Layla watches with Lionel and comments that this will be a fair fight. The teacher discreetly thinks about the contest, while our lad stares at the headmaster and recalls the promise about teaching him a second magic specialism. The furry girl notes that the hero appears significantly more prepared for this match. She aims to call Fenrir and challenge him with everything she has. The host announces the commencement of the long-awaited final match. As soon as the conflict starts, she summons her beast and mounts it, preparing to attack. Our boy immediately moves to evade as he sees that she is attacking with glacial bomb filled with snow-like bits. Seeing him sidestep, the girl mentions that he is quite fast, but she doubts he can keep his guard up forever. She attacks again, and the hero activates his physical amplifier, enhancing his speed tenfold. With this enhanced speed, he avoids the strikes and runs in dangerously close, preparing to strike. Carla feels relieved that this method works, but the department head is still not sure. He tells her that familiars are essentially thick masses of mana and that the beast will recover fast from any injuries. Carol recognizes that Setsuna's attempts are not awful, but she decides to use Fenrir's power to freeze the ground itself. Our child is astonished as the entire stage begins to freeze over. He learns that the mana-generated frost creates a barrier he cannot pass through. Watching from the sidelines, the same unknown man says that Fenrir's attacks will now become stronger and wonders what the hero will do next. Our youngster recognizes that typical assaults will be ineffectual, and the longer the combat carries on, the larger his disadvantage increases. Keeping this in mind, he decides to use the scattered rubble on the ground to leap and duck, while betting everything on his Comet Fist assault. He makes a sword out of mana, and bracing himself as Fenrir's strike crashes into the stone he is standing on. Once again, the foolish pupils in the crowd start to mistrust the hero and declare that he is no match for the summoning mage. This time, even the instructor seems a bit nervous. The red-haired girl notices him and asks what is wrong. He dismisses it, but internally he notes that charged bullet can generally be used just once, since it needs an extraordinary concentration of mana, making it incredibly tough to utilize in one-on-one battle. However, because of the hero's exact control, he is attempting to gather it directly within his fist, even though it is far from easy. At the same time, Carol understands that she has no idea what the hero is hiding up his sleeve, therefore she needs to finish this fast. She summons a second familiar, the bird Garuda, alongside Fenrir. Drago is startled to see her commanding two familiars at once, and Lionel remarks that this is an outstanding talent. Both familiars assault our guy simultaneously, prompting his pals to worry about him. However, he manages to fend them off with both hands, causing them to retreat. He gently signals to the furry girl that he anticipated she would eventually play her trump card. Carol is shocked that he blocked the strike and wonders how he managed it. At the same time, our youngster prepares to release the tremendous amount of mana he had been hoarding. Before that happens, the same unknown student intervenes and snaps his finger. All of a sudden, the magic emblem behind Carol's neck starts crackling and she screams in terrible pain. The hero hastily goes towards her as he discovers that it appears similar to the death god's magic. He is certain of it, yet he cannot understand how such sorcery is even conceivable here. The furry girl began murmuring to herself before abruptly shouting. A burst of black power erupts from her, summoning several dark monsters that quickly assault the hero. The audience is left in shock, wondering how many familiars she actually has. Lionel suddenly knows that this power does not belong to Carol and urgently demands that the match be stopped. He demands for the barrier to be removed and questions what the formation magician is doing. However, the guy responsible for dark magic reveals that only the caster of the barrier can remove it, meaning they must first find the formation mage. Unfortunately, that magician is already locked in his grasp. As the creatures continue assaulting, Setsuna assumes that the one controlling this turmoil must be nearby. He activates his mana detection to discover the source, but the strange man urges him to focus on the fight instead. Suddenly, the gigantic bird emerges in front of him, beating him with a stick and forcing him back. Layla watches in horror as the hero struggles to rise. The man smugly feels that Setsuna will never discover him among the crowd, and that in his current state, he is powerless. Lionel feels the situation becoming dire. The hero does not have time to create another charged bullet, and Carol's health condition is fast worsening. If this continues, she will lose control of her power. putting her life at jeopardy. The girl struggles to pull away, anxiously asking the hero to stay back as the black beasts close in. Our boy dodges her strikes while steadily approaching toward her, driving away the enemies in his route. When a horned monster blocks him, he grabs its horns and hurls it onto the others. The headmaster witnesses the gathering turmoil as Melee Deptad runs up the stairs, concerned that his student is in terrible danger. He knows the formation mage must be found immediately, and hopes the hero can hang on just a little longer. Meanwhile, another beast with a long pointy horn charges at our boy and stabs him in the leg. Layla gasps in fear, knowing the hero is straining himself beyond his limitations. The man behind the black magic says that it is over and commands the monsters to finish him. The monsters heed his order, and all of them rush the hero together. This is too much for him in his current state, as one familiar manages to bite into his arm, causing agonizing pain. He yells at the top of his lungs, but no one can save him. In that moment, he recalls Lionel's instruction regarding melee magic. He remembers that the key is not wild offense, but closing in while limiting harm, never meeting attacks head-on, and remaining strong and concentrated enough to deliver the ultimate blow. He snaps back to the present, recognizing his defense has worked. The strange man guesses that his arm is ruined, and wonders if he purposely allowed the injury to focus mana. Setsuna understands the familiars are in a highly aroused state, and will pounce on even the slightest weakness, treating him like prey. He pours all of his mana into a single punch, and prepares to finish this performance. The strike is so fierce that it literally slices through every single summon like a big cannonball. It even knocks off the furry girl, and she collapses. The hero rushes to her side, ensures that she is safe, and carefully lowers her to the ground. The crowd can hardly believe what they have watched. Stunned by the unexpected end and Carol's condition, the presenter finally proclaims our boy is the winner, marking the first victory for the melee magic department in 100 years. This prompts the arena to erupt with cheers. Some students comment on the unfamiliar last tactic the hero used. Layla and Drago are pleased by his triumph. Even the bully is happy, since he was the only one betting on Setsuna's triumph. The only one upset is the strange guy who tried to take him down. He didn't believe that the hero would genuinely prevail despite all of his efforts. To eliminate any proof, he plans to get rid of the formation mage, but a curious aura suddenly captures his notice. The man wonders if someone managed to trace the mana of the formation magician. He surreptitiously uses magic to mark a symbol on the mage's back. At the same time, Lionel senses a peculiar magical presence and rushes toward it, only to find the formation magician laying asleep. He wonders if he has missed something vital. Soon, the barrier encircling the arena begins to fade, and the headmaster descends onto the stage. He observes that after summoning so many familiars, it is no surprise that Carol fainted. The hero remains certain that she was surreptitiously controlled. After investigating her, the headmaster confirms that a magical artifact was responsible. He reassures everyone that he will handle the rest. As the headmaster begins curing her, he turns to Setsuna and compliments him for displaying his strength. He swears to honor his word, and our boy thanks him with a smile. The headmaster asks him to meet him later in his office, and then goes. Afterwards, the hero walks to the infirmary, where a healer tends to his wounds. As she puts fresh bandages around him, she explains that his injuries are not totally healed yet, and urges him to rest for a time. He thanks her, changes into clean clothing, and is about to rest when someone knocks on the door. He invites them in. Lionel enters together with Layla, Drago, and the 3 children. The girl instantly checks on the hero, and he reassures her that he is well, even moving his arm to show that he is mostly recovered. She brightens with relief and congratulates him once again on his success. The buff guy also congratulates him with a happy smile, proclaiming him the pride of the melee magic department. The children are still full of excitement and tell him how fantastic it was to watch him fight. After sharing congrats, everyone leaves, and only his teacher stays behind. Lionel informs him that the formation mage has regained consciousness and is presently stable. He also notes that the furry girl's condition is still weak, but she is no longer in immediate danger. Once she fully heals, they should be able to discover out what really happened. More importantly, it is now evident that someone actively sought to hurt him throughout the contest. He asks whether the hero has any clue who might be responsible. The scenario moves to later that night. A mysterious figure approaches a guarded area and tries to unlock the door, only to learn that a barrier has been constructed to keep outsiders out. The barrier proves worthless, as the figure quickly shatters it and climbs inside. The chamber is where Carol lies unconscious. The man thinks that removing her before dealing with Setsuna would be the wisest choice, since he cannot allow anyone who knows the truth to stay alive. As he makes an attack against her, a blade slashes through it mid-air. Our boy instantly appears in front of the guy, explaining that he had been anticipating the culprit to come for the girl, though he secretly hoped it would not be his closest friend, Leo. As the two come face to face, Leo lets out a smile and reveals that he got caught red-handed. However, he still doubts that the hero has any evidence linking him to this incident. Our boy admits that he simply had a hunch, but after what he just observed, he is now certain. Since things have reached this point, his friend advises that they move outside. As they move away, the hero thinks to himself that his body is still far from being recovered, and fighting in this condition could end terribly. Leo begs him to quit frowning and wonders when he began suspecting him. Setsuna explains that following the ritual of choice, he suddenly departed, which already felt weird. It also seemed weird that he was not chosen as the representative of the ranged magic department. Later that same night, when he sensed a familiar presence identical to what he felt during the intramural contest's final match, his suspicions were reinforced. He had sensed the might of the death god within Leo. This leaves the friend a bit astonished, and he doubts if he just talked about the death god. His aura abruptly shifts as he moves closer, and red marks start to emerge on his face. With a sinister smile, he asks the hero what he knows about the death god. Our youngster definitely sees the change in his power and recognizes that Leo is likely a servant of the death god. If that is true, then he must be stopped at all costs. The man regards their prior friendship as unimportant and shows evident desire to flirt with the hero before terminating everything. Without wasting a single moment, our guy creates a mana sword and runs directly towards him. Unfortunately for him, his companion entirely disintegrates his sword with a single move. The moment feels disturbingly identical to the conflict he endured in the past. Leo reveals that he has gained the death god's trust and been awarded disintegration magic, one of many powers at his disposal. No matter what magic he uses, it cannot even affect him. The hero attacks again, only to be countered just as effortlessly. Despite this, Setsuna refuses to give up. He realizes that his friend exclusively employs disintegration at the exact moment he attacks. If he can rapidly slip behind him and hit him with a surprise assault, he could have a chance. This seems excellent in principle, but when he really tries it, his pal blocks without even looking. Leo mocks him, pointing out that his mana awareness is significantly sharper. The next moment, he blasts him with a fireball, sending him flying back. He agrees that the hero is still a formidable opponent, especially after staying this long using solely melee fighting. According to him, he would have been significantly stronger if he had been chosen for the ranged magic section. Leo's tone suddenly turns weird, and he says that it was his own choice. Therefore, there is nothing he can do now. Deciding to end it, he attacks with an electric spike, aiming at the hero's leg. Our son cries out in anguish, since the injuries from his last match have still not healed yet. He composes himself and demands to know why Leo is doing all this. His companion says that there is no unique reason, and he is simply tired of the world, as if destroying something others constructed provides him happiness. Setsuna is stunned by this perverted thinking and recalls sad events from the past. He lashes out emotionally, criticizing his friend for hurting and killing people over such small reasons, and even questioning whether the person in front of him is even Leo anymore. As his pal prepares another strike, our guy recognizes that his mana blade alone is not enough. He needs a single, overwhelming strike, powerful enough to end the conflict swiftly. Remembering his confrontation with the death god, he tells himself that quitting up is not an option. As he rushes in to deliver the hit, his friend starts his own attack. Our son quickly recognizes that he can't block it as it's too fast. However, before he gets hit, a white flame appears in front of him out of nowhere, stopping the attack. Even his pal feels astonished since he recognized this technique. The following moment, another white flame is launched in his way, and he just manages to block it. Our child swiftly glances in the location of the attack and discovers the headmaster aura farming on top of a building, together with his dragon. The old guy jumps down and asks the hero if he was late, but our youngster informs him that he came just in time. He then turns to Leo and queries if he was the one responsible for the events at the tournament earlier. The man appears impressed that the headmaster managed to figure it out. The old guy explains that he had been keeping a watch on him ever since he sensed his dirty mana. This makes the child even more impressed, and he acknowledges that the old man lives up to his reputation. Even though the headmaster had his suspicion, he was secretly hoping that it wasn't one of his students. Saying thus, he prepares to launch another tremendous white flame assault at the offender. Before releasing the flame, he gives him one final chance to submit, but it doesn't look like it will happen. The old guy finally instructs his dragon to fire, and it answers by launching attack, utilizing its blazing skill. Satsuna can obviously feel the deadly power behind the strike, yet his friend doesn't move an inch. He calmly remarks that the white dragon is the strongest beast that can be called, and confesses that without the strength bestowed to him by the death god, the attack would have put him in genuine danger. The headmaster recognizes that the kid is employing magic disintegration and acknowledges that such magic genuinely exists. When the hero questions whether he previously knew about it, he says that records passed down through centuries of the Silverlock family warn of a secret dark force. Once awakened, it will hurl the planet into calamity, and magic disintegration is only one fragment of that dreadful power. Leo mocks them, declaring that no magic can ever hurt him, and even addresses the headmaster by name. He then mixes 3 different traits, making our youngster realize that this is triple attribute combination magic. He climbs into the air, collects power, and releases it in a deadly blast of force. The headmaster's eyes change its color as he swiftly urges the hero to walk 2 paces to the right. Our youngster follows the order and narrowly dodges the onslaught. The headmaster likewise evades the blasts, which surprises the boy and makes him question what type of magic he is doing. The elderly guy observes his confusion and reveals that he isn't the only one who understands how to negate magic. Instead of being terrified, the boy thinks it a great trick and proceeds to show his own ace card. Suddenly, huge dark aura starts emanating from his body, and the hero quickly recognizes that this is the magic of the death god. His friend prepares to strike, and vows that he won't allow any of them live. Even the headmaster is a bit scared, as he knows that his attack can blow up the entire academy. He orders the hero to go into position, and takes out his magic butterflies. With this, he and his dragon fly high up in the sky and try to distract the kid. Leo knows that he is merely attempting to keep him from injuring others. However, he likes the challenge, so he agrees to play along. Both of their attacks clash, but his dark magic overpowers the white flames, hitting the dragon directly. After getting rid of the headmaster's summon, he asks him if he finally wants to acknowledge defeat. The old man looks at him and agrees with him, adding that it's time for him to stand away. The next moment, our boy comes from behind the crumbling dragon and dives towards him. Leo is amused and believes that his shield is enough to block the onslaught. Unfortunately for him, the hero goes supersonic and tears through his sheet like paper, hitting him directly in the face. The ground beneath them cracks open, and our lad finally puts his friend to sleep. The attack also left him with a lot of injuries since the explosion was too big. Seeing this, the headmaster recognizes that there are methods to break through disintegration magic since it has its limits. Satsuna clenches his fist and believes to himself that he made the proper option by choosing melee magic. His strikes can connect faster than the rate of disintegration, which makes the magic worthless. Thinking it's finally finished, he walks over to the old man, who commends him for his effort. Unfortunately, Leo is still not done with them and stands back up despite his injuries. He also compliments the hero for surpassing his expectations. Our child can't believe that he is still standing after bearing the full impact of his comet fist. His comrade decides that it is now his turn to attack and releases his black energy at practically point-blank range. At this distance, our lad has no other alternative except to block it, using his mana sword. However, his friend already knew he would do this, so he blended his dark energy with disintegration magic, forcing his blade to break upon hit. The hero is pushed back, hurtling to the wall, as the black energy hits him at full power. Severely injured, he falls to the ground. As his consciousness slips, he hears his friend expressing incredulity in his own ability. Our youngster wonders if Leo somehow mixed ranged magic with magic disintegration, but dismisses the concept as improbable. In his fading thoughts, he recalls occasions from the past when he practiced by shooting at targets. He recalled telling his friend that he was inherently talented, and that if he ever stopped practicing, he would overtake him in no time. Leo had answered humorously, stating that receiving accolades from a prodigy felt amazing. Back in the present combat, He considers firing another shot, this time straight at his erstwhile closest friend. Our son is confused and asks him what he means, but he immediately urges him to check back. When he turns, he sees everyone else hurt and being slaughtered by monsters. Leo criticizes him fiercely, claiming he is unworthy of being a hero and a complete failure because he could not save anyone and abandon them. As those vicious words resound in his thoughts, Satsuna later wakes up, terribly injured, resting in a bed. The red-haired girl sits beside him, apparently relieved. She tells him how delighted she is that he has finally woken up. When he wonders where he is, she says that he was brought to the infirmary and that she had been anxious because he was comatose for 3 days.